happy Children's Day, kids. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. We, your parents, are facing far more pressure than you would imagine, but one day you'll be an adult and
Yeah.
you know what it's like.
There's something very weird about this Children's Day, though.
Yes.
Because I,
This
I,
particular one,
no, I mean the Children's Day
generally.
generally. I
Mm.
think that so we're saying Children's Day, but then the parents don't ever get to spend time with their children on Children's
On that
Day,
day, yes.
and I find that very awkward. Because if it's their day, this should be set aside for both the parents and the children, so as to make it truly their day. What then you? Sorry, sir. What you said? What you now see is you find parents, being caught in the middle as to where to keep their child. Because they have to go to work,
Yeah.
or if their school is not doing anything, then they are just left to be confused as to where to keep.
Well, I don't. I personally, I don't think that our leaders give a hoot about what happens to children, especially the children of the ordinary man. I don't think they care. I don't think our political class, most of them, care. It's done to fulfill all righteousness. It's just, okay, let's have a day for children's day, and then they prepare speeches and so on and so forth, something symbolic, and it ends there. Because before you can lay claim to wanting to put up a fight for children, and what is the example you have set with adults? You get what I'm saying? So, yes, I agree with you. I think, like I said, it's just done to fulfill all righteousness. Maybe it's the morning of that day that the governor will be told, Excellency, today children say, prepare something for me. We are not people-centric in our thoughts. Do you understand what I'm saying? Our leaders are not. It's always about them and the cookie jar, mostly. And I still want somebody to pick one politician one day and tell me that this. I'm not saying they are not, but I'd like you to pick one and say, this man is fighting solely for the interest and is ready to make the sacrifice. The kind of sacrifices that the likes of Ganifa Wahimi made in his time. Do you know that Ganifa Wahimi used his personal money to fight for that struggle? And the most disappointing thing is that when he presented himself for leadership, he failed woefully. And those are some of the punishments we are getting now. People who stood up for you, sacrificed their time, their money, everything. I'm sure Ghanese, if you interview Ghanese children, he probably didn't have so much time for them. You understand what I'm saying? That's part of what Nigerians are going through now is punishment for their past deeds. And unless we change, we'll keep going down that lane. For as long as you are in the act of voting for people for money and for various reasons, which are not tangible, that's what you will get.
Indeed.
Why did you let me veer into this a simple thing like Children's Day? See where I landed.
I mean, it's a significant, it's a symbolic a commemoration for the children.
Notice now.
Sorry. 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 I was thinking that we need to look at it more critically.
Yeah, I know. I personally think it's
done justice to it.
I think it's a lip service thing. It's a lip service thing.
Yes, indeed. Let's leave the Vanguard for now. We'll come back to the Vanguard. Let's go to the Punch. Page 12 of the Punch. Corruption not allowed in Nigeria, says Tinubu. What's the meaning of
No, all I want to do is to read the two paragraphs of the story.
No, you're not going to do that.
And other people.
You will analyze it.
I'm not analyzing it.
You have to analyze it now.
I mean, the story says that President Tinubu has restated his administration's unwavering commitment to fighting corruption and recovering looted public funds, declaring that there will be no safe haven for corruption in Nigeria. I ask only one question. When is this commitment going to be fully exhibited? In a cabinet where you have a minister driving a Rolls Royce, amongst other things. The Tinubu made the declaration on Tuesday as the Ministry of Justice Asset Recovery Summit in Abuja with the theme synergizing towards an effective asset recovery and management. It was represented by the permanent secretary in the office of the Secretary of the Federation, and he says that asset recovery was a key pillar of the national anti-corruption strategy. If you're interested in the story, you can go read it. It's just
it.
I see it like a public announcement. I can't give a comment on this. I refuse to comment on this. Let me just say no comment.
But it's not allowed. We have EFCC, we have ICPC. It's not allowed.
What is not allowed?
We have anti-corruption agencies.
You have them. I haven't said you don't have them.
But they are there to deter people from it. It's a symbolic thing to show that we don't tolerate corruption. That is why they're there. If we say that, okay, so we tolerate corruption, then we will not have all of those agencies. They will just be there. And we have what's this thing called in civil service? There's this desk. I can't remember now. That they deal with all of these things there. With them, I think yes.
Okay, I agree with you.
You can't just agree now. There's something that you
the question I just asked, like it was said, like it was Jesus Christ asked. Was it Jesus Christ in the New Testament that who will was it not fire the first church? Who will these things just wipe out of your head. Yeah. But let's leave it. I just put it there for public announcement. All of us know what the problem of corruption is. As far as I am concerned, I don't think Nigeria has a leadership or has ever had a leadership that in truth wants to fight corruption. And so we beg our leaders to stop making these speeches and so on and so forth because there is no need. People already know what's going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? I find it even offensive for a leader in this current dispensation to tell me that corruption is not allowed in Nigeria. Since when? Who can cast the first stone? Let me see who can cast the first stone. That was the phrase I was looking
for. Okay.
Looking for. Who can cast the first stone? I wonder. I sometimes wonder if our leaders have a sense that a lot of us are knowledgeable, we are educated, we are exposed. We can read and write. Even if we can't read and write, we can hear. Who is supposed to be convinced by such a statement that Nigeria will fight corruption? Starting from where?
We've been fighting.
Second base.
Let's move. We see some 753
I just did that for public announcement, really, just so that you can know at least what is being said.
Okay. We can go on, Abi.
Yeah, definitely we can.
Okay, all right. This editorial in the Vanguard reads, "Much ado about Tinubu's Vatican visit."
Yes, the Vanguard is in sync with my argument about the criticism about the president's visit to the Vatican during the inauguration of the Pope, and they're referring specifically to the statement made by Babacha Lawal on Arise Television when he criticized the president's attendance. I think it was done in bad faith. That you don't agree with the president doesn't mean that everything that he does is bad. I think the fact that he went personally was very nice, very thoughtful of him. The only slight disagreement, and that is a matter of opinion really, is that I feel that I'd like to advise the president, when you're representing the nation at an international event of that nature, you should, I believe that it would have been better if he was dressed in a national attire. Because we must, the Africans generally now, we must save ourselves from the Western world. And I've heard educated people saying he was dapper in the suit. Yes, he looked very good in the suit. No doubt about it. But he would have looked better in a national attire. How can we be going backwards to pre-independence days when everybody thought that to be properly dressed you had to wear a suit? We've gone on a long struggle right from the days of timber coat that they used to wear in railways. They used to wear in railways and post authority and all those old relics of the civil service. to now have a national spirit. I would have loved if he went there in his national attire. And of course, the supporters said he was looking dapper. He's not supposed to go there to look dapper. He's supposed to go there, he's supposed to be well recognized. One of the major problems of Africans is that we still don't have an identity. And I watched a recent interview with the former president of Obasanjo, about how Nigeria, for example, during the apartheid struggle, became a frontline state. Everything we do must be Afrocentric. That's why I also criticize the president's repeated visits to France. France has held our brothers by the jugular. Nigerians shouldn't be seen romancing such of which should be in the forefront of the struggle. But I'm not even sure about our foreign policy. I'm not too sure in which direction it is skewed these days. I think it usually goes on with the new president who head in another direction. I'm very uncomfortable with the president's romance with France. Extremely uncomfortable. And the recent thing that happened, look at the way African leader, the South African president, was treated in the White House. Africans have to stand up. We might not have money, we might have our problems, but we need to stand up and have some element of pride. So for those who, of course, said he was looking dapper, it's not about being dapper. It's about identity. But aside from that, the president did well. I would say that as much. Look at the Vanguard says here, much as we commend Lawal for remaining true to his convictions, this issue needs proper clarification. Irrespective of the lurid details, Tinubu fulfilled the requirement of the Constitution and our laws in emerging as Nigeria's president. In that position, he reserves the right to represent Nigeria at any relevant international forum. He was formally invited to Pompeo's inauguration by the Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Parolin, and he was given a front seat. In international politics, everything matters. Where you sit, do you have access to the toilet? Are you will the cameras pick you? He was given a front row seat, so we're giving due recognition. So I think in this particular instance, Mr. Lawal got it wrong. Let me read the last paragraph of this editorial. It says that since Tinubu chose to honor the invitation in person, he was correct in doing so, and I agree with that. And he did a good job of it. I also agree with that. He presented himself very well. Diplomacy is all about national interest, not emotions. That was why, despite the fake bishop scandal, you know the story of the fake bishops, the Vatican still invited the Nigerian leader. Since we allowed Tinubu to emerge as our president, he must lead. So I agree with that in total.
If not that Abachi was talking, I actually didn't see any.
No, there was nothing. And let me say something. 2 years of the Tinubu government is not as if they have not done anything. I'd like to stress that. As much as one criticizes, it's not as if they have not done anything. I think the biggest problem with the Tinubu government is the optics. The little things. The little things that you overlook, that people don't have enough courage to tell the president that this shouldn't happen. Like your minister driving a Rolls Royce. It shouldn't happen. Whilst your people are suffering, it shouldn't happen. The little optics, stories about hearing the son did this and the son did that, these things shouldn't happen. If you have a grown-up son, if he doesn't have an appointment, keep him out of public eye. These little things here and there, frequent travels and so on and so forth, they are the ones that are creating the biggest problem for the president. It's not as if he hasn't done well, no. But the thing is, no matter how well dressed you are, if you wear a white shirt and there's a stain on it, it rubbishes all what you have done. I hope those close to the president tell him the truth.
I hope so. So, let's go to page 6. Why we sacked Channels TV crew from Government House. Governor Eno This is in the Vanguard.
Yes, I think the media need to stand up to this governor. I think they need to. And I think the truth of the matter is that he was quite embarrassed. I saw the footage. It appears he didn't have any support from, or didn't have much support from his cabinet that he was addressing about why he was shifting over to it appears as if because everybody, they were mute. And he kept repeating himself. You could see he was a bit uncomfortable. We shouldn't allow any political office holder in this country toss us around as the media, because we have that role to play. And we shouldn't allow. The media must stand up to this bullying. It's part of the bullying I'm talking about. The media must stand up to the bullying. Because at the end of the day, what's the big deal about being a governor? I mean, come on, tell me. Even being president, you're first amongst equals. We must bring this thing down. We must remove the scales and bring it down to a visibility level where our leaders in truth will say they are serving us and that we are not serfs. I hope that the NUJ will take this up and the Guild of Editors will take this up and go to the defense of because if this thing goes on, the press has the right to record whatever is seen, unless it's a security breach. And this was not a security breach. The guy was there with his camera.
Right.
It's not a security breach. And this must be nipped in the bud. It must be nipped in the bud. We are talking about Governor Umo Eno, who has recently, he hasn't moved, but has said he's going to go from PDP to APC, and is threatening those who don't want to go with him to please resign. There was palpable silence in the hall. One of the things that I'd love to see as we move on is how many people these guys will actually take along with them whenever they are moving, and what the consequences will be. It would be nice to see if the people are firm on the ground as to what they want to do, rather than do follow and follow the money where it is. But that's a story for another day. I hope that NUJ and the Guild of Editors will stand up in defense of channels. And if I were the leader, I'm almost at the point to say that, oh, you know what, we will even boycott all your activities, so you can report yourself and come on television and do it. But I'm not I'm not recommending that. I just said that as an aside. That's what I feel inclined to do. I hope it doesn't get to that.
Let's take this is going to be our last story. It's in the Trust, page 8 of the Trust. Maman Ali, son of ex-PDP chair, jailed 14 years for 2.2 billion naira subsidy fraud.
So there was a special offences court in Ikeja, and it has convicted and sentenced Maman Ali, son of Ahmadu Ali, you remember Ahmadu Ali then, to 14 years imprisonment over 2.2 billion oil subsidy fraud. This development is good, but we know that there are far more people that were involved in that fraud who are walking the streets today. And we'd like the EFCC and the various agencies to please step up and see if they can make the rounds in picking up those who have put us in the current situation that we are in. But 14 years, the case has taken 14 years, Sheriff. 14 years. Oh no, he's been jailed for 14 years.
For 14 years.
But the case has taken. When did the case start? Oh, he didn't say it, but this has been going on for quite a while. It doesn't say when the state. However, the judge review. Okay, we don't have information as to when the case started. That would have been good to know. I suspect that this again might go to the appeal court before it goes to the Supreme Court. By that time, a child that was born when the case started will probably be in the university by the time the final sentence is given.
I would love to see more of this, like you said. He wasn't the only one.
These are the foot soldiers.
It wasn't the only one. We would like to see prominent individuals being fingered and being prosecuted publicly to the effect that they are sent to jail at the end of the day.
It's not likely to happen, especially you younger ones. when you hear stories like, oh, he was a businessman, he did this, he did that, he was going to give a seminar to talk about the story. Some of us one day will tell these people, come and give us a story, but let's leave things as they are, and let me prepare myself for Dear Bumi, which will be coming up at 9 o'clock.
Yes, indeed. Who is coming?
I have two people. That is the matchmaker.
Okay.
And CNN from Wazobia.
Wazobia.
They're going to cross themselves. I'm going to knock their heads together.
That should be fun. CNN is not a... It's not an easy place.
I've wanted to put the two of them, the submarine, and they knock their heads together, and I'll sit back and watch.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir, for coming through.
You're welcome.
Lagos, we're going to step aside now for Kofi Bartels to come back and run his show, The Morning Crossfire, for one more hour. And then we'll be back with Dear Bumi at 9 o'clock with Jimi Disu. I'm Sheriff Quadry. Good morning to you.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.